Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. That is Jack. I am Conrad, and this is the 45 Match Week 22, Premier League Week 22. More midweek matches. This is exhausting. They're playing at such a pace right now. I'm tired, and I'm not doing anything other than sitting right here. Some really, really intriguing matchups. Here are 5 of them. Wolves, Arsenal. Wolves are having their worst season since getting promoted in 2018-2019. Currently 14th on 23. By comparison, first 21 matches, their first season back up, they were 9th on 29 points, so 8 points worse. Last year, 7th on 30 points, 9 points worse. This year, 30 would be only good enough for 11th place, right? So that you can say what you will about that. It's a little tighter this year, a lot more competition. It's wide open. They can't score. 21 goals scored, 30 goals shipped. In 2018-2019, 23 goals scored, so 2 better. 25 shipped, better. 19-20, 30 goals scored, 27 shipped. So worse in total points, worse in goals scored, worse in goals allowed. They have not won since December 15th, the win over Chelsea. 8 matches, no wins, 2 points. Arsenal, they had a tough start to their season, right? We've talked about that over and over and over again. But Arteta settled on a few things with his team selection. Now he's got Martin Odegaard in there for some additional creativity. Gets rid of Mesut Ozil, ships Mustafi. Arsenal fans rejoice. Twice as many points in their last 7 as they had in their first 14 matches. NBC Sports told me that today on the transfer deadline special. They last lost on December 19th against Everton. So these two teams couldn't be more opposite right now. Wolves took the reverse fixture. It's 2-1 back in November. But they had Raul Jimenez, and Arsenal were terrible back then. Although that is when they
I'm going to start this off with just off the top of my head, how different the league looks when the likes of Liverpool and Man City are more mortal. And, I mean, 2 losses, 5 draws for Man City, and then 3 losses and 7 draws for Liverpool. What happens in the knockdown effect of the entire table is, as you mentioned, Wolves, 30 points would not be where it would be in a normal year because there's less parity at the top, maybe even less so at the bottom when you have like some shifting.
Well, more parity at the top. There's just there's a less concentration of points.
Yes, that is the proper way to say it. And it causes teams like Wolves and Arsenal, Arsenal this year, maybe not historically, to be caught in these fights where the narrative will always be you lose a match or 2 and oh my God, you're in the bottom half of the table. You win a few matches, oh my God, you've shot up 4 places. And so that's just the nature of the way the Premier League is this year, where it's incredibly topsy-turvy, a lot of tumultuous results. So for that reason, you shouldn't panic too much if you're Nuno Espirito Santo. But at the same time, there is this I think growing gap where you see Leicester City in 4th on 39 and West Ham 4 points behind them in 5th place on 35. I think that top 4 is beginning to separate themselves a little bit, and then we're seeing a battle between 5th and about 10th place, which is separated by 4 points. And if you're Wolves, you value yourselves as being as good as some of those teams or better. So you want to get your name in that hat. You want to throw your hat in the ring. And you're not doing that right now because you're only on 23 points. So this is a very important result for them. Very important match because it's not going to be easy. Arsenal have been playing very good recently. They've been more defensively sound. They're the second best defensive unit in the league, which is something that Wolves had prided themselves on for a long time, but they're beginning to taper off. They need to become less of a one-man show with Raul Jimenez. They need to figure out alternative ways to play their brand of football, but without the main man up top. So I don't favor them in this one. I think Arsenal are in too good of being a form to be beaten, but I think Wolves need to start to figure things out at the very least, make a better performance, figure out a better shape to try and be a bit more threatening on the attack, maybe a bit more disciplined in your defensive structure.
Arsenal take this, but that's the obvious answer, and this season has told us that obvious is rarely the answer anymore.
I picked 5 draws on the weekend, and I was close on 2 of them.
Got one right.
I almost had 2, but the armpit or the sleeve of Ings made me wrong. But it's tough to call things this year.
It's unbelievable. I forgot lower third on that first one. I forgot about the lower thirds. It's out of practice. United, Southampton. Man United sitting second, 1 point back, coming off of 2 disappointing results. The 2-1 to Sheffield United, which actually doesn't sound like they should have lost based on that post-match report. And then the draw over the weekend to Arsenal. They've had a tendency to play very conservatively. You know, you talked about it in the last couple of shows. against bigger sides, but I think they're going to have to do a little bit of rotation here. So maybe that quick turn is going to dictate a certain style, maybe conservative as well. And Southampton, they've been on a terrible run over their last 8. The lone win over Liverpool providing half their points of the 24 that were on offer, so 6 out of 24. Danny Ings has been the man for them, leading the club, with 7 goals. Sounds like Takumi Minamino is going to be coming in from Liverpool on loan. Unclear if he'll be available, but I think it's a good addition for a Southampton club that needs some creativity, needs some goal scoring.
We're recording this on Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't think he's even ready because this game's tomorrow, I believe. So
it's tomorrow.
If he was ready for tomorrow, that'd be a case of you're going to be like, all right, Taki, I need you to get over there. I need you to score against Man United. I need you to nick some points off of them for Liverpool. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a great signing, actually, because I like him a lot at Liverpool, but I think he needs some more time to develop. He is 26, but I think there are still some aspects of his game he needs to iron out. That's a good transfer, I think, though, for all parties involved. Minamino gets game time, Southampton gets more depth up front, and Liverpool get to loan out one of their assets to develop them. For Man United, I'm wondering if this is I don't think Ole's job's at risk, but I'm wondering if that at-risk effect is about to bounce in, it's about to hit, where Ole out begins to get a bit more loud on Twitter, and the disputes are harder to make, and then he goes on a couple match winning run before they inevitably fall back down in form. I'm not sure if that's this one yet, or if that's maybe one more result from now, but they need to improve. And so Bruno Fernandes was signed a year ago, a few days back, so they were celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Bruno. He actually won a poll in BBC Sport about that he is the best January signing in Premier League history. Nemanja Vidic, Virgil van Dijk, and Luis Suarez are all crying out in anger because they would argue they were a bit of a better candidate. But he's made a huge impact on his team, and he's great in a title-winning side. He's going to be a great key cog in this United team for the next half-decade to come. Issue is they don't have enough around him. And I think people love to point blame at Bruno because he scores penalties, because he pisses off rival fans, he winds people up. That's why I love him and I love to hate him, because he is a passionate player, he's a talented player, and he carries this United team, and they need to support him with some talent.
But that's why he's such a standout, because everybody else is mediocre outside of Pogba and,
Martial has it in him.
Players are pretty
Rashford
good.
has it in him. Amad Diallo, he scored a brace in his U23's debut against Liverpool in the U23 league. So there are some exciting prospects, exciting things in Man United, but there's just too much wrong in that club for me to feel great about them long term. This match, however, I don't want to say it's a trap match, but considering how much they're thinking about that Sheffield United result, where they had the 2 decisions that were factually wrong. The referees came out and said, we should not have disallowed a United goal. We should not have allowed a Sheffield United goal, which is a huge deal. It's like there was 3 goals in the game, and you literally said 2/3 of it was a mistake.
2 of them are wrong.
Yeah, so it was a big – they have the right to be angry, but move on. They're 20th in the league. Fundamentally, yeah, you conceded a goal that you shouldn't have, and you didn't score a goal you should have, which is really hurtful in a game of football, but they were 20th in the league. If you were a title contender, that's a joke that you're saying, oh, the referees screwed me. No, I think they need to make a statement in this match. I think they will. I think Southampton are in a bit of a shaky pocket of form, and they need to kind of pick that up a little bit again, because they're at risk of falling out of that about 5th to 10th pack that's beginning to form, where that's really competitive. They don't want to fall out of pace with that. So a draw, I think, is very plausible, but I favor Man United in this one.
I think Southampton will find a way to do this. I don't know. I think United are they're that shaky right now, and I think you're going to see some change in that side simply because of the Tuesday quick turn. I mean, both of them have it. But next up, Leeds and Everton. Talk about which team is going to show up. Good Leeds or leaky Leeds. Here we go again with the lower thirds. Cannot get used to that. And then Everton, the sleepy Everton, or the lively and interested Everton, right? These 2 teams could not be more bipolar in their approach. That stinker that Everton threw out against Newcastle was terrible. Can Patrick Bamford have another big match and catalyze this Leeds side? What happened to James Rodriguez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Richarlison, right? They kind of have dried up a little bit. All I have for this match, I feel like, are just question after question after question. These teams are puzzling to me. Leeds 12th on 29, pretty good, and the best of the promoted clubs by a lot. Everton only 4 points ahead and in 8th with a game in hand on Leeds. Leeds score more than Everton, 35-29, but they concede 12 more goals. 36 goals conceded to 24 for Everton. They're -1 goal differential for Leeds.
Leeds United,
and yet they're 29 points.
Leeds United are a very, very fun team, and we talked about it a bit last video about how remarkable it is that they're so successful, despite having so much championship level talent. But they've proven that it's not championship level talent if it can adapt to the Premier League. That was a bit of a dumb statement, but
Rodrigo, Rafinha, Bamford's a question. I mean, he's got 11 goals, right? Across.
Yeah, exactly. I think Bielsa's a tremendous manager. I think Ancelotti's a tremendous manager. I think this is going to be a tremendous game. This is a really interesting one for me because these two teams are both converging in their form charts, where Everton are falling down from where they were in an electric vein of form, while Leeds United are spiking upwards with theirs with the last 2 wins they've had. So you hit the nail on the head. The inconsistencies of this team plague them both, and we just hate predicting for them because you have no idea who's going to show up on any given day.
Crapshoot.
It feels like there's almost no telltale signs to know which one's going to show up. It's just a case of, with no fans, it's kind of a on the day kind of vibe and atmosphere. I think
we didn't talk about the managers here, Bielsa and Ancelotti. I mean, they're both really, really well prepared. Mm-hmm. I think Ancelotti's a little bit more flexible than Bielsa is. Yeah, Bielsa really has one way to play.
Yeah.
Ancelotti, I think, has a little bit more tactical flexibility.
He says, I don't care if you're 2011, 2012 Barcelona, I'm chasing that ball every time. And I don't care if my players die on the field chasing it. They're going to die getting that ball off of the defenders. This is going to be a good one, I think, though, because of how good the managers are, because of how much tactical nuance there will be in this game. If I had to pick one,
on one side at least,
if I had to pick one, I would pick a draw because I don't know how to pick this, and I'm just gonna hedge my bets. It's a draw.
Leeds 2-1 over Everton, I think.
Not bad.
Next up, Villa and West Ham. So Villa 9th on 32 points. Scored 34 goals, conceding just 21 across their 19 matches. And I saw they put just on their Twitter feed today, that is good for top 5 in the entire league in both categories on a per-game basis. I think it's 3rd on scored and 5th on conceded. So they are a high-performing team right now. West Ham have been fantastic. But they were brought back to earth a little bit in the stinker they threw out there against Liverpool, the 3-1 loss, which is their first loss in 6. It ended a 4-match win streak for them. Two teams that really look like they have the talent to challenge for a top 6 spot in a year where it's more wide open than I can recall. That opportunity is there for the taking. Villa are one of our favorite teams to watch, kind of like Leeds in that sense, even though I think Villa are far more consistent. David Moyes has got a team that is very capable of matching them in the midfield, where I think they've got the best pairing with Declan Rice and Thomas Souček, right? But unfortunately to me, this actually feels like a draw. This has got 2-2 written all over it.
Yeah, this should be a good one as well because this is what I love about this season is that we've had so many mid-table usually sides that have gotten a lot of talent because of the funds, the Premier League, the circumstances of the season. We have great games like this where these are two great performing teams that should make a great match. If you said, 2016 when Villa were last in the Premier League, hey, you're going to see West Ham versus Aston Villa. You're like, that's the game that's on Peacock TV, and it's the 3:30 on the Saturday where you're like, if it's on, it's on. If it's not, it's not. But
nobody knows what Peacock is if they're watching this from some other country.
It's hell on earth.
The paywall that NBC Sports has put up in front of our viewing opportunity.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one though. I think West Ham want to rebound from the Liverpool game, as you mentioned. Villa have been a bit inconsistent, despite their consistency, as you mentioned. Nice 1-0 win against Southampton. They were heavily
loss, win.
They were very close to not being a draw in their last one if it were not for, as I've already mentioned, like the 3 inches on the sleeve of Danny Ings, which I think we've probably mentioned about half dozen times now in the last 2-3 shows.
Ridiculous rules.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a good one. I think I favor Villa in this one, actually. I think they do usually have midfield supremacy because of Jack Grealish's ability, because of the structure of McGinn, Barkley getting a goal last time out, Douglas Luiz, I think isn't talked about enough for how good he is. So I think this is going to be one that I think is edged by Villa because West Ham have such solid strength in Souček and Rice in the middle. I think that this might actually be one where they are outdone in that aspect, and that might lead to a result there. Because you saw against Liverpool, who ran the midfield. It was Curtis Jones when he came on for Milner. It was Milner when he was on the field. Wijnaldum did very good. Thiago is just world class, so he ran that area. And they controlled that aspect of the game and controlled the entire game as a result. So I favor Villa in this one a bit more than I think you do in a 2-2 draw. So I would probably say 3-1, 2-1. Not the highest scoring of games or wins for Villa, but I anticipate a pretty professional performance from them and one that'll get them the points.
I mean, it could be. I'm curious, actually, now that I think about it, with Souček and played so many minutes. I haven't looked lately, but a couple of weeks back, they had played every single minute of every single match thus far in the Premier League. And I suspect that their usage rate is still really, really high. And this is, again, I can't recall if this is a Wednesday game, so they got an extra day, but they may have to rotate a little bit. It's not what Moyes has done, right? He's mostly stuck with those guys in the midfield. They haven't done much else. Mm-hmm. But if one of them is out, I would definitely tip Villa for the points. Last up for our 5 this week, Spurs home to Chelsea. So Spurs, as everybody knows, are a very different side without Harry Kane. He does so much for the side with his just overall creativity and industry. And Gareth Bale does not look like he's going to be providing much help to this club just yet. Maybe he'll round into form, who knows, but he does not look the part right now. Son up top is fine, but not necessarily the way this team plays. I think this was today I think it was the third request for a transfer from PSG for Dele Alli that they turned down. Mourinho's got to get him in the side, I think. He could certainly help them from a creativity perspective, especially, I mean, again, they don't play through the midfield all that well with the way this team plays. Defensively, they've been a train wreck, Spurs have, the last 2 matches. But against Brighton and Liverpool, they gave Brighton their first home win of the year and gave Liverpool their first win of 2021. Alderweireld was the one player that kept that Brighton match from getting really bad. Thomas Tuchel, meanwhile, I cannot get these lower thirds right. Thomas Tuchel, meanwhile, will see his first London derby in charge of Chelsea and will likely put more players into the mix as he really kind of continues to figure out who his best 10 outfield options are. He's got to get some scoring from his attacking players. He can't rely on 2 goals from the defensive players, as he did against Burnley. Werner has yet to score in 12. Havertz has looked better, but there won't be a scoring problem for somebody ultimately with Tuchel's his tactical knowledge and experience.
Yeah, this is going to be a great tactical battle because these are 2 great managers of the game. I may do my classic just bad commenting and just be like, oh, all these different things could happen, but I think a 0-0 is very probable in this game because Chelsea, as you mentioned, lack the clinical nature with their forwards, and they relied on their defenders and the defensive structure of Spurs. Unless they drop a stinker like they did against Liverpool, I imagine they'll improve. I'm interested in how Mourinho reacts to that, though, because without Kane, they couldn't create against Brighton. With Kane against Liverpool, they were quite open at the back because they couldn't really kind of keep that structure going, and they had a lot of mistakes that led to Liverpool scoring 3 goals on them. So I imagine Mourinho will probably close it out, go for the 0-0. And you know what? I'm actually going to stand by my guys. I'm going to call it a 0-0. I'm going to say it's going to be 0 goals in this one. So stay and watch the game if you want to see people get mad at Mourinho for parking several buses in front of his goal.
At home, he can't do it. I mean, granted, there's no fans, so. But
Mourinho, even if there was fans, would say, what do you want? Do you want to win games? Do you want to get points? Do you want to win trophies? Or do you want to see us go concede 4 goals against Chelsea? Because they fundamentally don't have the defensive talent they need. Chelsea have far more talent than Spurs. And the fact that they are now level on points with Spurs in a game in hand, they need to pass them. I imagine Chelsea will be on the front foot. Maybe that opens up room for Son on the break, who's just phenomenal at that. But I'm unsure of what.
He doesn't have a running mate, though.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Is he doesn't have his best creator in Harry Kane, who was carrying this team, as we've seen. That his ability to create is next to none in terms of center forwards, and his ability to be a clinical finisher is next to none, maybe in the entire world. So losing him is always going to be a big deal. I would be interested if they try and get Dele Alli involved because, I mean, you've held on to him. Use him. Don't just have him be like, oh, we don't want him at PSG because we don't like Pochettino or whatever. Just actually use him. He's a talented player. Just has not been in anywhere good form. So I will stick by
That's
my
another-
0-0 prediction. I think this is going to be a bit of an interesting game, but a lack of interest in terms of the ball hitting the old net.
There was a tweet today. I can't remember who said it about, once again, Daniel Levy frustrates Mauricio Pochettino on transfer deadline day by not allowing him to get the transfers he wants. But I think if you get Dele Alli in that Spurs side, they have a shot at this. Otherwise, I think Chelsea are going to take the points. I think they're going to be aggressive. Tuchel's going to figure out just enough tactically to get those forwards firing and rely on, maybe if he puts Marco Alonso back in there, who knows? I mean, he's an unorthodox wingback.
He plays like Roberto Carlos at left wing back. I mean, yeah, what can I say? He's a world class left wing back. I just don't want to just get him off the field if he's a left back.
And he brought him back in. He was exiled pretty much under Lampard. He really didn't play all that.
I remember there was actually a training video where I think some player, or I think Tuchel was like, "Or Marcus, you go first or something." And all the fans in the comments were like, "Marcus going first? Like, we did hate that guy. He's supposed to be not at this club." And then next thing you know, he's scoring goals for you. He's making an impact. So that's just the way things are this year. It's just unexpected heroes.